What's up, guys? Okay, so one of the first things you'll require for a fractal program is going to be the DDA line algorithm. I'm just going to straight away copy paste our DDA line algorithm, which I have already typed. And it's very easy at this point. It's like standard procedure, so I'm not going to waste time in this. And yeah, we'll need to create a label as well as a push button. So we'll do that real quick. Okay, then we'll take a push button to generate. Okay, also by the way, I am using static coordinates. I'm going to do all predefined coordinates. Once you click generate, it will just generate a pattern, nothing else. So yeah, you can. I mean, if you want to take coordinates, you can. But personally, I think it's pretty pointless because उससे कुछ होने नहीं वाला. ठीक है? Yeah. So after this is done, what you want to do is, yeah, first of all, there will be a text edit which will have to contain the level. The level is basically the number of times it will actually self-repeat itself. Koch curve is like a triangle which self-repeats each side, right? So we have to take a text edit. So right over here, I'll just. So that is going to be your fractal order you'll input over here. After clicking on generate, it should take that value. So right over here, include our everyday lines, that is qimage, img, qimage format. In this case, we'll need a math.h as well because we're going to include functions such as square root. We're going to use square root. That's why we need math.h. Then after that, there's going to be a function inside the uh, push button click function. It's basically going to be 3 times calling a paint recursive function, which we'll define later. But before that, this are basically taking the value from the text edit and putting it in our variable. This is the UI label set pixmap so that our function can actually draw on the label. Now let's quickly head over to our private slots, which got created as soon as we went to slot. We'll do a void DDA float, comma float, comma float, comma float. Then a void uh, paint recursive. Okay, so paint recursive, paint. No, it's going to be paint recursive or whatever. Let's just name it paint. Yeah, void paint. It's going to actually paint our fractal. So it will contain the order which the user will input. Then actually there's no need to include this over here as well. But it will contain the order, the x1 coordinate, the y1 coordinate, the x5 as well as the y5 coordinate. That's pretty much it for all of our functions. After doing DDA, let's just clear some space over here. Okay, so here I'll do void main window. We'll do paint over here. See paint. So now, see now the thing is that imagine if you enter the order as 1. Okay, so what that's going to do is it will just make a single triangle, right? So we have to make provisions उस तरफ से कि if that is the case, then we'll just draw a single line. This is not going to draw an entire triangle, by the way. It's just going to draw uh, like a triangle के 3 lines में से triangle की एक line बनाएगा ये. Okay, so x5 and y5. We'll get to know why we're naming this as x5, y5 instead of our original x2 वगैरह. So here we'll go delta x. This is supposed to be like this: delta x, delta y, x2, y2, y3, x4, y4. Okay, these all of these variables we'll use in the else block when the order is actually greater than 1. Add a condition over here itself, less than or equal to 1. Okay. Then over here we'll first calculate delta x. Delta x is going to be x5 minus x1 divided by 3, because we will divide everything in 3 parts.
This is why the Koch curve is a triadic fractal.
Also, we have to convert this into integer since delta x is an integer variable. Okay, the same we'll do with delta y. Delta y is going to be y5 minus y1 divided by 3. x2 is going to be x1 plus delta x, and y2 will be again the y counterpart plus delta y, right? Now the way x3 and y3 are calculated is a bit different. 3 is going to be x5 plus x1 divided by 2 plus sqrt 3 into divided by 6. Okay, so we take this together, and all of this must be integer, obviously, because this is an integer variable. Y3, just swapping the variables. Also, please note that here the sequence is ulta. x5 minus x1 है और y1 minus y5 है. So keep that in mind. I'll show you a trick. Just say by manipulating these values, you can actually create different types of fractals. Now we'll x4 ka statements, which are this. It's basically x2 plus delta x and y2 plus delta y. इतना ही है. Now that this is done, we will add 4 recursive calls to paint recursive, or paint actually. It will be again order minus 1, because एक order बन के हो गया है and we have to draw the next one now. And now we just add x1, y1, and yeah, so these are all of your recursive calls completed. Over to your push button click function. Here we are going to call the paint function again. Paint again, paint, and you have to call it thrice क्योंकि triangle के 3 sides होती है ना, so this is for every individual triangle के side. Okay, now here's the thing, you can call it on any coordinates you want. These are some coordinates which I have selected, and these work well on my device for the kind of uh, size and shape of the label I'm going for. So you can either copy this or you can make your own, but this has been it. So we'll just build this up and I'll run it. Yeah, so order of fractal say 3. Now if you want to generate an we'll have to first restart the function. Yep, and now if you want to go 5, see, generates. So what it basically does is it makes a couple of recursive calls over here, and what it is, what it's basically doing is it is calling the function over and over again until it hits this condition. Okay, so जब ये condition hit होता है तब it should actually is supposed to return. That's saying कि okay, I have reached my base condition, the base condition of all the recursive calls. So now I'll just accumulate, like ये सब जो भी results आए मेरे उसको मैं combine करके अभी finally draw करूँगा. So yeah, this is what happens. writing return won't really make a difference now because anyways there's no any other function which you're executing, no? But like it makes it that much clear while explaining कि अच्छा इधर आने के बाद function will end executing. Also, a bonus thing which you can do is for self-similar curve, you will have to do x5, so x1 minus x5. So you have to basically swap the x values. So self-similar के लिए x1 minus x5. So see over here, every part is like a scaled down version of this big one. Yeah, ये एक है, फिर ये तीन है इसके अंदर ऐसे. You can see the details made. So this is kind of a self-similar fractal. Now, if there are self-affine fractals, where if you subtract y5 minus y1 and revert x5 with x1, you'll get this. So all the scaling factors are kind of different in all three dimensions, right? So yeah, this is something which you can see very similar in mountains, valleys, and terrain. Ki they have different scaling uh, kind of factors in all three dimensions. So yeah, and if you do y5, y1 minus y5, then you'll get अपना पहले वाला Koch snowflake. See, yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys.
85% of the viewers are not subscribed yet. What are you doing? Do you want to anger Pikachu and risk your practicals?